I'm neighbors with a celebrity! Don't believe me? This is the story of how I became neighbors with Punxsutawney Phil's much less successful cousin. So, I'm in college now, which means for the first time in my life, I'm living somewhere different. I mean, I haven't left the state technically, but it's different, okay? These people don't even know what a Harris Teeter is. Anyway, living somewhere different means having different things around you. For example, mountains. Painfully steep mountains. Tell me why I decided to pick up running as a hobby in the most hilly place I've ever lived. Like my calves, man. I don't be running up that hill, I'd be walking up that hill because my calves. It's all he can handle. But also, groundhogs. Did you know groundhogs exist in the wild? Because I've definitely never thought of them that way. I mean, I know they're wild animals, so they have to exist in the wild. But when I think of groundhogs, I think the groundhog. Punxsutawney Phil telling us that the reason it's still cold outside is because it's still winter, you moron. Thus, to me, groundhogs aren't wild animals, they're celebrities. They deserve to be walking out on the red carpet, signing autographs, taking pictures with their fans, paying $1,000 to get a flattering photo taken of them to replace the ugly one that was default on their Wikipedia page because that's luxury. But instead, they're stuck living next to this, bologna sandwich? Nailed it. Yeah, that's right. I'm neighbors with the celebrity, possibly multiple celebrities. It's hard to tell because apparently groundhogs are solitary animals, meaning I've never seen two of them in the same place at the same time. But that doesn't mean there aren't multiple, it just means that groundhogs are strangely identical and relatably antisocial, so when I spot a groundhog, I'm never quite sure if I've seen that groundhog before, which, consequently, is the same reaction most people have to seeing me out in the wild. But I digress. The first time I saw a groundhog was my second semester in college. I went out for a run through the middle of nowhere fields and saw a strange brown blob not too far from my face. I've bad vision. I stopped to stare at it because, animal. And for a split second, I thought it was a capybara. Wishful thinking. But then my second brain cell decided to return to the scene, and I remembered we don't have capybaras here, so it couldn't be that.
And then, as I was postulating what it could be, it darted underground.
Like it spotted somebody used to know in middle school. And that's when I knew it was a groundhog. And by that, I mean, I was pretty sure it was probably a groundhog. But could also be another type of marmot because, again, bad vision. And then I googled where groundhogs exist. And that's when I knew it was a groundhog. Probably. We now interrupt this broadcast to bring you Cats 9 Facts About Cats. Many believe that cats bring dead animals to their owners as gifts to show off their natural hunting instincts. In reality, they do so because groceries are expensive. Modern science has proven that cats developed purring as a way to channel their happiness or fear. So, if your cat isn't purring around you, consider trying violence. Ancient Egyptians worshipped cats as divine beings, but modern cats have yet to be informed of the empire's collapse. That's why 90% of cat owners are owned by cats. Speaking of ancient Egyptians believed cats could see spirits. Thus, if you see your cat staring into the abyss of your apartment, you might want to check on your grandma. People often criticize Catwoman's costume for being ugly, useless in combat, and including unnecessary sex appeal. However, what people don't know is that this costume is actually modeled after a hairless cat, making the skin-tight fabric choice an aspect of realism. Contrarily, costumes in Cats, the musical, are often criticized for trying to be too realistic, as all of the fur makes it difficult for audiences to determine where the costume ends and the performer's dignity begins. Supervillains are often depicted stroking a cat in their lap. However, it is rumored that the cat is the real brains of the operation, and the supervillain is the mere henchman, as this would explain why all of their best plans involve extra-large laser pointers. Speaking of laser pointers, cats are unable to understand that red dots are not real prey. In fairness, many guys are unable to understand that being left on red is not an invitation to prey. Similarly, cats groom themselves constantly because it means they get to take fewer baths. Unlike old men who groom their students constantly because their tenure means they won't get fired. Well, that's enough of that. Now, I know what you're thinking. Cat, you said you were neighbors with the groundhog. Not that there is a groundhog an unspecified number of kilometers from your freshman year dorm room, you liar! But that's where things get exciting, because it makes sense for a groundhog to exist in the rolling fields. Plenty of space there for a long, luxurious red carpet. Paparazzi will have no problem getting their good side. But more recently, I moved into my first apartment. You know, as in an apartment, as in a residential area with people and buildings and busy roads and people and buildings and a groundhog. Wait, and a groundhog? One day, I step outside my building and there, quite literally basking in the sunlight, was a groundhog. Not in the wild, next to a shed. I stared at it stared at me, and then it became a little too much eye contact. For me. It was a little too much eye contact for me, so I pulled out my phone and I took a glorious picture. And then the guy got camera shy because he only gets creator rights on Groundhog Day, so he darted under the shed. Not under the ground, under the shed, mind you, like a lizard or a rat or something. A Shedhog. Since that day, and before the start of winter, I kept seeing the groundhog just in front of my building. Same spot every day. He was just chillin', basking in the sun, ignoring all his little groundhog problems floating around in his little groundhog head, which is awesome for me. But somebody needs to tell this groundhog that the middle of nowhere rolling fields are only a small and unspecified number of kilometers away. Like, seriously, dude could be living the life. And instead he has to deal with me dropping my jaw in awe every time I see him like he's some kind of never-before-seen spectacle. Or dentist. And before you go calling me selfish, I'd try telling him this as much myself. But for whatever reason, he keeps running away from me before I can. Like, seriously, he won't let me ask how many weeks left of winter there are, let alone inform him of the existence of nature. So, as a result, I am neighbors with the groundhog. And though the ground is now snow, and my little marmot friend is nowhere to be seen, I know that come springtime, I will be greeted with a celebrity on my doorstep, and my life will feel whole again. Update, it's been a while since I wrote this. He's dead. The groundhog is dead.